been good to me. Yo. See, check this microphone. Okay, we get the mic. Kind of low. All right, there you go. All right, so we live. Basically, go ahead, do this real quick. The road less travel, man. This a touchy subject right here. I'm trying to really basically focus on, people wanting to be in relationships, people just wanting more out of life. And a lot of people don't want to take accountability for their actions. you know when it come down to it, if you know you in a situation where you put yourself in, you can't really blame nobody else. you know Take for instance, you go on a robbery or something with somebody. You could have easily got out the car before the robbery ever took place. you know Get my mic. You could have easily got out of the car before the robbery ever took place. So when it come down to it, same process in a relationship. You could have easily got out that relationship before it got too drastic and stuff like that. Shout out to the people in the chat. Know what I'm saying? When it come down to it, you might be the one that could have ended that relationship and saved 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Most people know relationships are not going nowhere. Hey, there was a guy on the panel. He basically said there's a chick he was dealing with. He was so invested in the kids more than the woman. He actually took upon himself to move the lady out of her mom's crib, paid about, I think he said about close to $3,000, got an apartment set up, got furniture, helped her out, you know, try to get her a stable job to where I guess so she could pay the bills on it. But basically, he didn't even want to be with the woman. Like he literally put all that money in it, just to, kind of see the lady do a little better. But he knew the relationship wasn't gonna work. And essentially, in most cases, you have those people that come into relationships like that. Even with the men, you have a woman that'll take a man, you know, get him to a level of, where he can, have ownership of himself. You know, get him out here filling out applications where he don't want to work. You know, get him to the point where he starts seeing the value in which he should have been seeing all along, finding a job, start providing. But it's like, she put all that time and energy in this guy, and all he really want to do is just chill. Play games, or just sit at the house and drink, or just kick it with the boys. He had a woman taking care of him. He don't want to work. Or he just literally like that in life. And you got men and women that are like that. You know, and the bright side of things, you do have women out here who have kids that take care of their kids. They good wholesome women, but it's hard because you got so many guys out here that's either gonna try to run the game on the women, or the ones that's not really interested in women and just want to have sex. That's my whole thing about just being open about things. If you gonna deal with a woman on the premise of just having sex, how you know that woman just might not say okay? Because she might don't want a relationship right now. She just want to feel good. Same thing with men. You gotta approach these situations the way it needs to be approached. You got some people get in relationships, and the biggest aspect is the being like a magician to manipulate certain things as if it is what it is. As that magician pull that rabbit out the hat, but then you look in the hat, you don't see nothing. He has that trap door. That's how these relationships are. Most of these people are dealing with trapdoor vices. And I said this on Plat Channel. I really don't try to push too many names, but I told him, I said, man, there was a guy was talking about building the black community, and he ended up getting divorced, and he was kind of crushed by it, and was saying how women this and women that. And my biggest thing is I always say, you choose you chose, At the end of the day, you chose wrong. If you have a situation to where you have a woman that you're dealing with and she ultimately playing you chose wrong. You know, you basically put yourself in a situation. You put yourself in that situation to where when it all falls down, you didn't vet the woman properly. Same thing for the men. I mean for the women. You didn't vet that man properly. So in a situation where you do have a person that you're gonna spend your life with, I mean, the big key is this. Y'all have a structure together. Sit down and talk about stuff. Me and my wife are constantly talking about stuff we're gonna do in the future and values. I tell people, I might not be married to my wife 100 years. I might be married to my wife for a lifetime. I don't know. I'm only coming with my intent and what I want out of a relationship, as well as her. She's coming with the same. But people change over time. You know, human error, man. You can't account for that stuff, man. When it comes down to it, people change. But the point of it is hoping that they change for the right way so it'll help you. Because in the long run, everybody's in the process. As black people, we want to build a community. You got to get married. You got to have kids. But to the extent that where people have been crushed and hurt so much, they don't want to get married. They don't want to have kids. They still helping the community because they're functioning in the community as viable people to come out here, get a job, provide for themselves, not trying to live off no system or nothing like that, trying to, get it out the mud, as people say. But they try not to come off the system or basically try to take from other people. They doing all this stuff on the premise of taking care of themselves. And that's a hard thing to do when you trying to make it on your own, whether you have kids or not. If you don't have proper guidance, you never was taught this when you was a kid or it came to be an adult, it's hard for you to go out here and put in the work. See, a lot of people think it's easy once you turn 18. I was talking to a lady. She said, once a man turns 18, he should go out there and find some type of guidance. I told her, because when it come down to it, if you're saying there ain't no good men out here, and then the women are raising the young men, so why you not raising a man to be productive? Well, I can't do this. She gave me every excuse why, as her being a woman, she can only give a man so much, and raising him, he has to find him from a man. And I told her that's the key. You got to put him in position with men to become a man. You know, you can't say there are not a lot of good men out here, but you got three boys and you're not telling them the proper things to do in order to be a good person and put them around men. That's the key. You have to put them around men. I was raised by my grandmother. My grandma and granddad, they broke up. They got a divorce. But the point of it was I was still going around my granddad, working with him because he had his own business. When it got to the age where they just probably weren't seeing eye to eye, I would go every once in a while, but I was going around my cousin. My cousin had his own business. He had me working up under him, you know, taught me stuff about guns, taught me stuff about hunting. I mean, just a multitude of things where I learned through him. Then when my older brother got his stuff, when he stopped playing in the streets, he would put little game on, you know. Then I would talk to the friends and stuff like that, but I was a little more elevated than them because the way my life was structured, it was more of a struggle coming into, trying to equal out being a kid. I had more of a older mindset, so I looked at things a little different than most people. And when it came down to it, the biggest issue that I was looking at with a lot of people coming into relationships and everything, they always look at this like formal way of teaching. Technically, there is no real formal way of teaching. You know, shout out to Kane the guy. He did a live last night. It was real informative. L Nixon, Jay Shine was over there, Misha, India. They all had. I mean, just Jay Shine, L Nixon, and Kane the guy. When they was cooking, man, it was on. I mean, it was on point, and it literally had you thinking like What is the whole premise of relationships? What are we doing in them? Like how we living? A lot of people, we want to push this whole gender war issue. Back in the day, we were all together because that's all we had. You know, the whole thing with choice. That's what a lot of people talk about civil rights and us, getting together and dividing and, coming into the union and everything of the whole United States of us being able to mix marriages and stuff. Women, black women can mess with white guys and whomever, and vice versa. It's to the point where, like, in the community, to an extent, we all we got. But this whole narrative going outside the community is better than staying in the community. And, to me, that's almost as telling me that I can't deal with my family. I got to go outside my family to find peace and comfort. Because, the whole cliche, we all brothers, we all sisters, you know, but I got to go outside my community to find peace, you know, and it's a sad thing to, to be, as all black people, man, no matter you from Africa, you know, Jamaica, the Caribbeans, all that, we all black people, man. And in the end, we need to be working together for the greater good. And that's the lead into the community of working together for the greater good. We don't get, I'm going to say this. When it comes down to most channels, when they start talking about the good within each other, they start talking about money, they start talking about building, getting jobs. This conversation, a lot of people don't want to hear that because you got to be accountable for your actions. And like I told Platt, if you want to get married, get married. Find that person. You keep getting screwed over, then you got to take that notion to stop, dealing with women, that you keep dealing with, or just don't marry at all. To the point that men don't want to get married, they don't have to get married. Go out here, be a productive citizen, you know, build in the community. You most guys who, technically don't get married, they literally have, insight to where they work for themselves first of all, but then they start being productive in their community and everything else. It's to the extent you have very few, every so often the ones to be selfish, don't want to deal with our people, don't want to move with our people. I mean, look at people like Robert Smith. Look how this guy built the community. Look at people like Jordan. Even though the thing shite with his shoes and everything, but look how much Jordan did for the community. We're not gonna give these people they flowers, and it comes to the aspect in other areas too. We got to work together as people. You know, we can't keep fighting about this stuff because when the last time you were on the screen and guys are talking about making money, actually putting people on with jobs, telling people to go this. We was on what was it, Roger Channel the other day. Guys were talking about driving and going into electricity. I mean, being an electrician, being a plumber, doing other things besides in the career that they're in, just to have a backup plan. How many times do we actually get a good live like that? I like how some of the topics always get turned. Yeah, they start off about the women and everything, but overall, you get a lot of insight. Even with BGS on his panel, we was talking the other day about the virus and just general stuff, and everybody got a little more insight about what's going on. That's the thing. When you come on the panels, man, you're actually on these panels learning stuff. Eat the meat, spit out the bone. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, so far as getting on panels, looking at about stocks, start getting into that stuff, man. It's okay. I get entertained too. I go over there to the little ratchet channels and I go over there on the women channels and troll over there because I try to tell them at the end of the day, if Kevin is saying what he's saying about abusing women, for the dudes that will do something like that, they're going to jail. There's no question about that. They shooting guys over nothing. And to have something to shoot them for, that's the reason. I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but it's crazy. And also, when it come down to it, for all the women, I tell them, I understand what Kevin's saying. It might be wrong about him telling them, women need this discipline, but to the extent everything that he's saying, is it wrong? Is he saying that you're getting out of place by being bad towards you? Because I seen the video and it's starting to get real popular big. The one where he was talking to the lady and asked her where's her place. She said right beside her husband. But when he asked her if the robber comes in the house, you gonna be right there beside your husband and fight the robber? She was like, yeah, no. You're supposed to be protecting the kids. That's why they always say the place of the woman is behind the man, you know. And a lot of women get offended in this new day and era. But the point of it is, if I die, you the second line of defense. You should be able to the point where you can save yourself or get the kids out. If both of us die and they run through the house with the kids and pop them, then what? I'm putting my life on the line for you and the kids. Or if we don't have kids, I'm putting my life on the line just for you. And see, a lot of women don't want to touch that. You know, when it comes down to it, it's easy for both of us to go over there and fight this guy. But if he got a gun, it's easier for him. He can pop both of us, and that's the end of the story. You know, and I understand this whole thing. I don't discount women working. I don't discount women, being corporate. But the point of it is, if you want to get married, there's some of the things that Kevin is saying is absolutely true. You got to cut this masculine stuff out. Same thing with these men. Like I get on these men just as bad, because if the community needs to change, it start with the men. We always say we're builders. We always say, we do this and we do that. So the community change starts with us. We got to be the one to say, okay, these women don't want to act right. Don't date them. And we see the numbers now. That's what they're doing. Women are saying that guys are not wanting to get married. That's why they not messing with. No, you don't want to get a bad deal. You know, it's like going to get a car loan. Who wants to get uh 28 to 50 some percent interest on a car loan? It's like paying for the car 3, 4 times, worse than the mortgages sometimes, you know, on houses. Same thing with these men. I don't discount these women when they say they don't want to deal with these guys no more. Some of these guys is trash. I wouldn't even like my daughter. I tell my daughter not to date some of these guys. Some of these guys online, they goofy, like some of my friends. I would literally tell some of my friends, you can't date my cousin. One of my friends, I think one or two of my friends was kicking it one time, and they met one of my cousins. Like, let me holler at her. No, it wasn't even no question, dude. I know you. I know what we do together. We kick it. Like, why would I put my cousin in a situation like that when me and you out here doing wild and stuff together, and we're both single? Now, if you show me the sign to where, man, maybe if I settle down, I do something different. Cool. But I ain't gonna be on too long because I gotta go to Gold P. But I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. It's crazy. Probably open up a little bit more later about this. Probably about close to 3 or 4. But once again, like I always say, we here and we gone.